Kia ora, good evening. Those living close to central Otago lakes are being warned that there could be flooding as lake levels in Wanaka and Queenstown continue to rise. A flood warning's been issued by the Otago Regional Council after rising lake levels for Wanaka and Wakatipu as a result of recent rain, with more rain forecast tomorrow in the upper catchments. Boaties are warned to be wary of floating debris washed in from swollen tributaries, and campers are being advised to be aware of rapidly rising lake and river levels. High flows are also expected in the Kawerau and Upper Clutha rivers as floodwaters drain from the lakes. Invercargill commercial property evaluator Trevor Thayer says parking in the city's a key issue and is in part behind a trend by business and retailers to move away from the central city and set up on the fringes of the CBD. Mr Thayer says last year's sale of the council's Don Street car park will only add to the problem and says all interest groups need to work together to come up with a creative solution to the city's car park shortage.
I started those surveys in 1990. And I can draw good conclusions over the 20 odd years. At the moment, we're still better off than we were in some of those 2 decades. We aren't at the level in terms of confidence and optimism, but what I'm saying is things have changed a lot in 20 years, and we just do not have the number of start-up businesses that are requiring those small shops in D and Tay and Cambridge Arcade that are empty. And so we've got to think of how else we're going to fill those shops in the future. I know that some of them will be filled up by office tenants because it becomes affordable to them and they can have their own presence with a sign. So that some of those will be taken by those. Others, I'm suggesting, might need to be considered as looking to amalgamate those properties in the future and doing a bigger retail shop. And again, the issue that we talk about so often is with off-street car parking available to those clients. So we're going to see, in my view, evolution of some of those areas. So I've got a very big view on vacancies and customer parking. I think what my story has been over the recent weeks is Yarra Street has filled up because it's got customer car parking. Those buildings have been occupied because the tenants going in there have seen that customers can park on the street without paying meter money and not going to get fined, and they're able to take the car off the street.
Car parking is a huge issue, isn't it, here? And probably not only here, but let's look at Martin Street, for instance. There's problems arising there with the planned pocket park there, and the retailers are upset because of the car parks. How obsessed with car parks are we?
We really are obsessed with them. But we do need to understand that not only are we obsessed, but we have a demand. We've got a demand in the city which we've got to try and work through and work out. And Martin Street's the same. What those retailers are saying is they've compared the number of businesses and the number of parks that they're going to be left with if that proceeds. And they've done some analysis with Windsor, and they're saying Windsor's so successful because they've got so many car parks that people can park in. And people know the parks are there, and so they don't hesitate about going into that centre because they know they're going to get a park.
We've had the council recently sell the property actually right next to where we are now talking. There's 90 car parks there on Don Street. What's the answer? I mean, we're actually losing car parks, aren't we? Do you see the answer to create car parks? Is that what we need?
I think it is to create car parks. I'm suggesting that we, as a city, need to plan for providing an alternative solution for these people. We need to, where are these people going to park and at an affordable rate? I know there is other parks around, but they're not well patronised. They're not a big enough size that people know for sure they're going to get a park there. So I think there's some solutions out there. I think as a city we just need to work together to find them.
Touring New Zealand, acting in the play Bombshells, 41-year-old mother of 3, Ali Harper, is tackling female characters in a performance that looks at the lives of 6 women in the post-feminist era. This is the second time Christchurch-based Harper's toured the comedy, and she describes the characters as challenging, incredibly diverse and colourful.
To think of it as a picture of 6 very different women, from a 16-year-old schoolgirl right to a 64-year-old widow, and they're all entering either a breakthrough or a breakdown. So we can all relate to it, and it's so gorgeous. I have women coming up to me, and men, actually saying, oh my goodness, I know each of those women that you played. You know, from the Tiggy Ent Whistle, who's got a sibilant S. Now that wouldn't make your job very easy, would it, if you had a sibilant S? And she's giving a talk at a succulent convention. And she's very introverted. And then I go to the very extroverted bride, and Teresa. She is so happy. She is so happy she could scream. So it's wonderful. I get to play quite introverted little people to quite bolshy, you know, fabulous ones. The 60-year-old widow, her life is very mundane until something unexpected happens. So they're all just fabulous, and I love it, and especially the mother of three, because I keep on pointing to the mannequins because they've all been created specifically to suit those characters. So they're beautifully created, and the mother of three is slightly coming unwound, as any mother of three will know. I mean, I can relate to, I'm a mother of three. Didn't order the hydrangeas, didn't ring anyone, didn't get the dry cleaning, didn't pay the gas bill, didn't get to the gym. You know how we beat ourselves up every day because we're trying to juggle being a mother, working mother. So yes.
What challenges do you face as an actress when you're trying to cover 6 totally different characters?
Getting enough sleep when you're on the road, because it's quite hard and it demands a lot of energy, especially the 16-year-old schoolgirl, because I'm dancing and singing and all of that. So yeah, it's that, and just trying not to miss home too much.
Would you say that it's a comedy play?
Yes, there's lots of laughter. There's also moments where you catch yourself going, oh my goodness, I've got tears, you know, because we're recognising the tragedy of that person, or we're really empathising with that person. It's so fabulously written that you do find you're taken on a real ride of different emotions. Me as an actor, I certainly am. One minute I'm crying, one minute I'm laughing, or just, you know, really truly telling that story so that the audience are absolutely clutching their bellies with full-on belly laughs. It's very therapeutic.
Is there correlation in the characters that you're portraying with women today in real life?
Oh, very much, very much. As I said, you know, a lot of people say, oh my goodness, I so know that woman. That was me when I was younger with mother of three. You know, you get so many women saying that. And right through to the 64-year-old widow. And I play an ageing cabaret singer as well, who's a little bit like a Judy Garland / Liza Minnelli, who's been around the block. It's quite tragic, but is still trying to do it. And she is sober, not. She's not sober.
And that's on tonight and tomorrow night at Repertory House in Invercargill. After the break, more thoughts from Venture Southland Chief Executive Paul Casson on trade with Asia. Welcome back. The new Invercargill City Council is meeting this evening for the first time since the last round of local body elections earlier this month. First order of business was the swearing in of the council, followed by an explanation of local government legislation by Council Chief Executive Richard King and City Solicitor Warwick Cambridge. There are 3 new City Councillors around the table: Karen Arnold, Rebecca Arminston and Peter Kett, who returns to the council after 3 years away. Also on the agenda, the appointment of the Deputy Mayor, councillor appointments to committees, the Bluff Community Board and outside council organisations. And we'll have more from the first City Council meeting tomorrow night. Venture Southland Chief Executive Paul Casson is positive Southland business and enterprises are making a mark in the highly active Asian marketplace. The Venture boss says there are many Southlanders doing business in Asia, but there was always room for more trade expansion. Mr Casson's comments followed the visit to the region last week of the Chinese Consul General, Madame Tan Shui Tian. Hunter Andrews asked Mr Casson what Venture Southland is doing to encourage growth in the region's trade with Asia.
We're working with businesses, developing opportunities. I think the businesses that we've also looked at, we visited this week, have all indicated that they are either considering working in that area. They're working in Asia now, but not necessarily in China. But there is a transfer of materials and goods into Southland from China. And businesses are being smart about, okay, where do we find our supply chain? to make our products more attractive in terms of costings, also making sure that they are cost effective as well. So businesses are aware, and the businesses that we talk to also indicate they have room for expansion. So that's positive.
With our primary produce exports, of course, we think of milk powder, don't we? But that's not all that's happening, is it? We are developing products.
We are developing products as well, and it's been our directorate has approved money towards the oats industry as well. So we're looking at diversification in Southland around land that is not possibly suitable for dairy. So we have had strong dairy focus. We need to look at diversifying the region through crops as well, and being innovative of how we actually deliver those new products through technology, through innovation as well. But to be, making sure that our products do suit the market, and I think that's an important part, that we just can't say we're looking at developing initiatives or products. They have to be tailored to meet the demands and the tastes of our ever increasing markets.
How do you know exactly what those demands are, though?
That's done. We're working with businesses. We're working with central government as well. We're working with central government around identifying what are those changes in the tastes. What are the changes in the markets with regards to requirements around products, and also the changing taste of Asia. So, not necessarily is it totally Eastern. Our Asian taste buds are changing to a Western economy. We are seeing the influx of the multi international companies in Asia, hotels, East meets West cuisine as well, which is very popular, and people are getting more adventurous and saying, okay, hey, look, we're going to be, we love seafood. Southland is very, very well supplied or resourced with seafood, such as oysters for Southland. We have crayfish, we have fresh fish, we have exports of all those products through to Asia. So I think Southland is very well poised to look at the future of how we can actually ensure that we do get that share of the market. And as I mentioned before, we are there now, but there is enough scale to look at other products.
Police are praising Kiwi motorists after the lowest Labour weekend road toll ever recorded. The provisional weekend road toll stands at 1 following the death of a 16-year-old boy who was killed after the vehicle he was a passenger in collided with a tree north of Katikati yesterday. National Manager of Road Policing Superintendent Carrie Griffith says general good driver behaviour, along with a high visible police presence and a lowered speed enforcement threshold of 4 kilometres per hour were significant factors in the record number of low fatalities. Last Labour weekend, 6 lives were lost on the country's roads and another 112 injured. The weekend's fatality lifts the year's provincial road toll to 204, down 36 on the same period last year. And that's it from us. Rugby Southland General Manager Brian Hopley's up next on Sport from the News team. Good night.